Next, I'm going to demonstrate how my stuff works at the club. So first I set up my throttle here. As you can see from the previous video, I made basically a root prototype using some mechano stuff. So you have the throttle, you can move like this, and it's connected to this tablet right here. And basically when I move the throttle, you can see the display changing here. So we're going to leave it to 0. And as you can see, it's not configured yet. So that's the mountain operator part. On the valley operator part, we have this other tablet right here, which is connected to the other one. There's a status display at the bottom saying it's connected, and it's still not configured. So now I'm going to put 4 trains and set them up. Now, for the purpose of my demonstration, I selected 4 trains. So we have 2 passengers. I only took the locomotives, of course, for testing. So you have 2 passengers on the main line, track 1, and 2 diesels on the track 2. And we are going to put that in the software. So now I'm going to configure the 4 trains. So I go to the setup menu. And here I have track 1 in passenger, track 2 is freight, so I'm keeping that. So passenger first train is going to be number 375. Okay, that's not an Amtrak, that's a Western Pacific. So let's write that. Western Pacific, yeah, that's good. On the second train, that's my Amtrak actually, it's 27. So let's put that on Amtrak here. Amtrak, voila. Now the second one, second track 2, which is the outer one. First one is 146, and that's a Southern Pacific. And so SP, and the second train is going to be the GM1, so that's 70, and let's put the GM. Okay, so we're good here. So as we can see, we have our 4 trains, 2 passengers, 2 freight, so I close this. Okay, so now we have our 4 trains which are set up here. Track 1, 2 passengers, track 2, 2 freight. They are currently not at the right place, because if you look, they are right in front of me, so they are in what I call the valley basically. And the 2 front ones need to be moved at the station. So I'm going to take the first freight one, and I'm going to say I want to control it. I'm the valley operator, so I select valley, and I want to move it, so I want to go forward. And if I look and I do that, okay, here it goes. Okay, so now I'm moving my train and I can see about the station, so I'm stopping it. And now I'm setting it as being at the station. And I'll do the same thing for the other first passenger train. I'm going to move it, so it's controlled by the valet. And we're going forward. And we're going to move that train. So now we're going to stop that train right in front of the station, about here. And we're going to say, okay, it's at the station. Okay, so now we have the setup as we want to start. We have 2 trains actually at the station in front of the passenger station, and 2 trains parked at the valley on the back. Now let's go see the mountain operator, see how we're going to do that. Okay, so on the mountain operator side, we have our two trains stopped here. So we're going to ask the junior engineer which train to run, passenger or freight. So let's say we pick up freight. So the first thing to do is going to be to change the Sonoma switch to track 2. Here we go. And here in our throttle, we want to move the freight. So we're going to say start on this one. You can see it's ready at the station. The throttle is at 0. If the kid is playing with the throttle, use the emergency stop to override it. Like this, you know that even if the throttle is full, you can see here the throttle will be almost full, but it will still override the speed to 0. So now I say start. And I'll tell the kid, okay, you know what, let's start with the throttle at 0, remove the brake basically. And now, if you do that, you're going to have your train moving. If I take a wider shot, you can see the train on the back. There you go. The thing is that here, for the mountain operator, you have reverse and forward. So if for some reason you need to go backwards, you can still do that. And you can move your train backwards. And then of course forward. So now the train happily goes away, full speed. Okay, train goes. Here on the valley side, we can see that this train is running. It's controlled by the junior engineer. So our goal is to take the next freight train, this one, and to bring it to the station. So we are going to basically go forward with it. Here it goes. And we are going to stop it about at the station. So one trick is that some of these trains, like this one, has a lot of momentum, so you have to stop it before the point where you want to stop. You have to guess it. So now it's stopped, and we know that it's at the station, so we're going to say it's at the station, it's ready for pickup. Back at the mountain, we can see our train is almost at the end of the run. It's on the Tehachapi loop right now, which is not really Tehachapi, but okay, so we are getting at the end of the loop, and it's going next to Bridgeport, and we are going to say, okay kid, you know it's the end of your run, so what are you going to do? We are going to say, okay, it's the end of your run, you can stop the throttle or leave it that way, it doesn't matter. What matters is that now we have this train which is running, and we say send to valley. Tuck, that one. As you can see, now we have track 1 is still available, on track 2 we have a GM, which is what the valley operator brought in between, so they are both available now. And for the next kid, we are going to say start here, start here. Back on the valley operator, you'll notice, so now there's this big sign saying, okay, the mountain operator release that train, it's up to the valley operator to pick it up. We still have a throttle selected on the one we put at the station, but it's disabled. So select this train, that puts the throttle to that train, and now we have control of the speed here, so you can just move it that way, or you can use the controls. And basically, well, I guess you want to go through throttle anyway. And we are going to aim for the train. Oh, we forgot something important. Our train is going to be coming from main line, and is going to go on the side here. And now we just wait for the train to show up. Okay, that should be anytime soon. I can hear the train coming out of the tunnel. So let's reduce a bit the speed. Here comes the train, and we are going to stop it about right here. Pink. Tiny bit more. Here. I forgot to turn the lights on. Okay, so you have to remember that these trains, some of them have a lot of momentum, so you have to prepare in advance before you stop. So now that we stop our train at the yard, we keep it in valley because that's where it is, it's the valley, let's call that the valley, and it's not ready to be picked up for the next departure, so we don't put it in station because there's already a train back there. So that covers it. Some other features of this throttle that I made. So you have a speed right here, reverse, forward. Speed increments by 1 or by 10, so basically you want to go that fast or you want to make small adjustments, you can do that. You cannot go lower than 0, of course. These are the functions 0 to 8. The DCC has 28 and 29 functions. I only showed the 8 first ones because they are most common. On most trains, 8 is actually the sound, so we can mute the sound or turn it on. Some other trains are different, like the GM is number 3. So it kind of depends. You have to know your DCC command, or you can remap the numbers. Generally, most of the time, this is bell. Mean 1 is bell, and most of the time 2 is a short horn, and 3 is a long horn. And then 8 most of the time is mute. And 0 is the light. That's basically everyone is like that. So we can turn the lights on. You can see it here. If I do this, light off, light on. Pretty impressive. And this one doesn't have sound, so there's no point making sound on that one. If you take the GM, the sound starts by number 3 when you are at speed 0 because it's more realistic. So that covers my run. You've seen how the mountain operator selects which train to run, and you've seen how the valley operator is bringing back the train. I'll make one more run just to demonstrate this again. So, which train do you want to use? I like the passenger today. Okay, we have this lovely city something here. I'm not sure, I cannot read it. So we're going to start from track 1. Here we go. I can hear the train changing, and I'm putting the throttle. Maybe we can stop, maybe we can go fast. Our train goes. I have to remember to put the sonora switch in the right direction. Should have done that before, of course. And here's our train moving. Meanwhile, the valley operator is going to select the next train, so we select this one and we're going to move it forward. And we're going to stop our train at the station. This one doesn't have too much momentum, I think, so let's stop about here. Yep, too short. So, a tiny bit more. Here. Oh, we overshoot. So let's go back a tiny bit. Yeah, here's good. And now that this train is park at the station. I say it's right there, so that will make it available for the next one. And we have a passenger train coming, so we are going to switch this to main line. Back at the mountain, our train is slowly making it through the loop. Here it goes. Okay, so that's the end of the run. And we are just going to set the train to Valley. And we have our two next trains ready for the next person. And we're going to put this one here. On the Valley side, we are going to select this train, which is now ready to be picked up by the Valley operator. And we have control of the throttle. And we are going to basically wait for it to arrive. We've already put the switch, the turnout in the right position. So all we have to do is wait for it to come here. And finally, here comes our train. This one has a lot of momentum, so I'm going to stop it early. Let's say about here. Yeah, okay, nope, still too much. So let's back up a tiny bit. Or it doesn't really matter where you stop it, just I like to align them. It's more fun. And here we are, and these two trains are in the valley, and the others are waiting at the station to be picked up by the next person. And that covers it. That was my last run, and now I'm going to turn everything off and put everything away cleanly. See you, bye.